Hello and welcome to the Small Business Happy Dance podcast. And today I'm so excited because I'm talking to one of my other favorite artists on Instagram. My God, Instagram are going to be coming for me with more adverts. I feel it. It's Leana Robinson, who is from Lancashire, and she's an artist. Welcome, Leana.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for asking me to come on your podcast.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about your business?
Yes, my business is called Leana Robinson Art. I'm an artist that sells watercolour and acrylic artwork, and I also sell the prints as well through my Etsy shop. Other things that I do commissions for pet portraits too. I do those in watercolour.
Well, I love your art, and the one that I like is actually you've put it in the background. It's like this is so on purpose. I come off this and then go and buy it. I really love the ballet shoes because they would go with another load of pictures that I've got. The colors and the aesthetic. I love it. I spotted that on Instagram and I was like, oh my goodness, I've got to follow this artist. And then I saw all the other things and I was like, this is amazing. Because you do, there's ballet prints, aren't there, as well? And then there's animals. Because there was all these gorgeous, I remember it was like rainbow of ballerinas, and I loved it. So how did you get started with your business?
So it all started by going to art class a few years ago. So just before I got married, my mum invited me along to this art class that she was attending, but I was just too busy and stressed at the time getting ready for the wedding. So I was like, no, I can't, but I'll start in January after the wedding. So January 2017, that's when it all began. And I started going to art class every Monday evening, I think it was. That's where the journey began. And then I just started sharing what I was learning. So in an art class, it was 2 hours, I'd paint something, take it home, and I'd just take a picture and put it on Facebook, just share it. I was getting responses, like the people really liked it. And then I'd get somebody saying, can I buy one? Can you paint me one for this? Can you do this for my friend? So it just grew from there.
Oh my goodness. So it was actually quite an organic start. Did you actually think you were going to end up selling your art, or did you just go to art class and want to enjoy learning how to paint?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to learn something new because I hadn't done it in school or college, university. I've just started, like I said, 2017. So it's something new for me. It's something I've always enjoyed, and it's something that kind of runs in the family. Like my granddad enjoyed painting, my mum she likes to draw in and pastel art. So it's just something that I've always fancied doing it, but never gone down that route.
And how did COVID affect your business?
So I was also working as a personal trainer. So I was doing the artwork alongside personal training as well. But when with lockdowns and all the restrictions, I couldn't continue with the personal training. There was the option to do online. I had a couple that did, but it was nowhere near what I was doing before. Like before lockdown, I had about 18 sessions a week, but then when probably 2 or 3 continued online, so it was a big drop. So, and then with moving house as well, then because I worked from home, I had a studio at home. So with moving house, I then didn't have the space, even when you could reopen up and have people around. So I just decided to concentrate more on the art side, and I did some courses and things to help grow the business that way. So I used the time to put more energy into the artwork.
And it was time well spent. So I'm there coveting a load of your paintings. And Instagram is really good, I think, for artists, because obviously it's very visual, and then you can also share behind the scenes, because as I said previously, I do a little bit of sewing, and I just love seeing how things are made or how people go about it. And I know that you do share on your stories like time lapses and stuff, don't you?
Yeah, they're really popular, the time lapses. When I did the first couple, I had some responses saying, oh, I really enjoy watching how the painting comes together. So I thought, oh, right, well, I'll share more. So now, even if I don't know what my painting's going to turn out like, I'll just set the camera up and I'll just record and get a time lapse of it.
I think it's a great idea. And I remember you were sharing a picture of an orangutan that had one background and you were going to paint it to another. And I hadn't messaged you at that point, but I was weirdly invested in how this painting was going to go, because I was like, please, 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 can this all go well for her? Otherwise she might have to paint the whole thing again. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I know. That's because, how did that end up? Yeah, I'd painted it. I painted that a couple of years, probably 2 years ago. They originally painted that orangutan. And I set up recently a Facebook group, and somebody was in that group that said, oh, do you still have the orangutan? I'd really like to buy it. So I was like, yeah, but I changed the background, because I was just messing around, because I've done it with another painting as well. It's Highland Cow, the acrylic one. That started off with a purple background, and I totally changed that to like a moody sort of sky colour. And someone messaged, I filmed that as well, and somebody messaged me, whoa, what are you doing? You're giving me an heart attack. So I thought, oh, I'll go down the same route with the orangutan, but it didn't look right. I weren't happy with it. So I said to the person that wanted to buy it, do you want me to change it back to the original background? And they were yes. So I had to then make it all green again. So we're going with the forest theme, jungle theme. But yeah, it worked out okay.
I was, as I said, weirdly invested in how that went. I was like so happy when you posted the final. I don't know if you realize that about Instagram, that sometimes people might not have commented or liked or whatever it is that you shared. They might not have done that, but actually they are thinking about it. Because I think we have had a brief discussion before this, just for full disclosure. And I think we mentioned that sometimes you might not have known that I was as invested in your painting of the background, but it's interesting that what you put out, they like the story of it. You can feel that journey with the artists, something quite intimate about the sharing on Instagram, particularly the stories. I don't know. How's that work for you?
Yeah, I like that side of being able to post the stories, and it can just be messy. It doesn't have to. Well, you don't have to have a matching theme anyway with your grid. But I just personally like to stick to my colours, and don't really put much of my personal life in there. But stories, I just put anything on. It doesn't matter, because it just disappears again. It doesn't have to match anything. So yeah, and I like putting the behind the scenes stuff. But what you're saying is right. You don't realise who's actually taking it in and watching, because you can post things and think, oh, I've not had any response, nobody likes it. You start getting a bit, what am I doing? But no, it's nice to know that people are watching and taking it in.
Yeah, I think you're right. You don't always understand the impact. And as you say, lots of things pop up on people's grid, or they have loads of stories they're watching, and they might be watching them and, it's gone past and they can't, comment or send an emoji. But yeah, they might actually be thinking, I was really thinking about that orangutan. I was like, I hope everything goes well for her. I didn't even know you. I'm thinking, oh God, all it takes is one slip and then she might end up having to redo it. And it's so lovely.
Oh, well, in my art class that I'm in now, my teacher just said to me last week, so I'm trying to paint a blossom tree, well, like a branch. I had a bit of a tantrum and I scribbled over it. She was saying, don't be scared of ruining it. Don't be frightened, because if you just need to let go and relax and just trust yourself to paint it. So it's like right there, because so I'm like scribbling over in matching colours and things, but I was trying not to be too precise, because I end up going in trying to make the petals, and she's like, no, be a bit freer with it. So I was like, okay. And then I took she actually said, right, let's take a step back. So I took a step back. She's like, do you see what you've done now? I'm thinking, I've messed it up. she's like, no, you've given it movement. She's saying, you've given it movement. So I was like, oh, right, okay. So I'm always learning. I love that there is just too much to learn. I feel it's like there's so many. I've just chosen watercolors and acrylics, but there's so many other avenues you can go down as well. And I feel like I haven't even touched the surface with the acrylic stuff yet.
Yeah, but it's gorgeous. Like, and let's just talk about the Highland Cow, because there's a little story that goes with this. And I think that the listeners or anyone watching this needs to hear this story, because you can tell the story. But also, if you're listening and you aren't watching this, please go over to Leana's Instagram, and I'll put a link in the description to her Instagram and her website, so you can go over and see the visuals, and I'll make a little trailer of this and include some of the pictures and things that we're talking about. So if you are listening and you're not viewing it, then you don't have to miss out. Just need to pop over to Leana's Instagram and you'll see that.
So the Highland Cow, I've just got some new paints. They're called gouache paints, and they're a combination between watercolor and acrylic. And the reason I liked them was because they're so bright, the colors. So I got these new paints. This is quite a few years ago, when I first started, let's say 2017. I was like, I just want to paint something quick. What can I do? So I thought a Highland Cow, do a Highland Cow. So I just painted it on. I didn't like it. I thought it was rubbish. And I was going to throw it in the bin. But I remembered something from my art teacher said, never throw any of your artwork away. You'll never know, like, if you could use it for something else, you could cut it up or go over it with something. So I kept hold of it, but I just thought it was a lot of rubbish. And then on Facebook, I asked, what shall I paint next? Just to get some inspiration, what can I paint? And one of my friends said, oh, a Highland Cow. So, well, it's funny you should say that. I've just done a Highland Cow, but I don't think it's any good. She's like, oh, let's see it. So I sent it. She's like, oh my God, I love it. I love this Highland Cow. It's now my most popular one on Etsy. That is the most popular print.
Hold on. So your biggest selling print is the one that you almost threw away?
Yes.
Okay, that's the moral of the story. Don't throw away something. As an artist, you never know. I mean,
don't go off your own opinion.
Well,
especially when you're just learning and your confidence isn't built up yet. Don't be so quick to judge yourself, I'd say, is a lesson.
Did you feel like that when you first started doing PT, or does it feel quite different to being a PT versus being an artist?
It feels different. I was thinking about this after chatting to you the other day. I thought, yeah, why does it feel different? It's different because I went through a journey to become a PT at 20. When I was 21, I trained as an exercise to music teacher. That was like my first step on the ladder. And then from that, then you'll learn other things, circuit training, step, do you remember that, up and down on the step? Then you've got your your exercise bikes. So, and you're always going on these courses. And at the end of the course, you get this certificate that says, well done, you are now qualified and safe to go out and do this. And I think because I've just been popping along with 2 local art classes, and you don't get that validation, you don't get that certificate. Well done, Leana, you've now passed your watercolor course. You are now okay to go out. You are good enough to sell your artwork. I think it might be that.
What I will say is, I have been to a number of classes where the person might be qualified, but yet they are crap. So I get what you're saying, and I have definitely had shades of that when I've done things in the past that actually I felt very confident doing one part because I was qualified, I had the certificate, I'd put the hours in, we'd done the exam, and etc. Whereas other things, you don't necessarily always get the qualification, it's more life experience. But you can have a certificate and be totally rubbish at what you do. You know, I have definitely been to some exercise classes, and I think we talked about this the other day, where people have done some dangerous stuff. So they might have done their certificate, but they might not have done any CPD recently in that area, or they, you know, their certificate was a bit rubbish to start with, because just because you can pay for a certificate doesn't mean you're any good at it. For instance, there is a qualification to do with being a project manager. And I know a number of people who've got that qualification. It definitely doesn't mean they're any good at being a project manager. But, you know, they've paid the money, the $2,000 or whatever it is to get that. And they've passed an exam. But it does not mean that they are able to get people to do, you know, because a lot of what we work is working with other people and getting people to work together and work with you on what you're doing. And art, I suppose, is a bit different in terms of having also been qualified exercise to music teacher. When you're teaching, you can feel the room, the temperature, you know, is this going well? Do they need more? What is it they need? You know, you can feel whether or not it's going well. And I suppose with art, maybe the difference is that you're sat at home painting and you don't get that, you know, that. And also art is so subjective.
Yeah, you can't please everybody. So somebody might see my artwork and not like it, and it's just totally not to their taste. But that's what makes the world go around. That's what, everybody's different. There's something out there for everybody, but it's just having that self-belief and confidence to keep going, because somebody will like it. So that shouldn't put anybody off.
What would be one piece of advice you would give someone who is new to business?
I would say I'd just keep it simple and say, make a start. Don't wait until you think the time's right. And if it's something like what I'm doing with your artwork, I would say do what I did and just share your artwork just on your normal profile, what you've been learning in class, and just build your confidence that way. But yeah, my advice is start.
It's good advice. Start and be prepared to do every job that you never thought you would do. For instance, IT. Like the amount of times I've been sat here and been like, who do I call for IT issues? Oh, wait there. That is also me. Oh, helpful. Luckily for me, I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm joking. Sometimes Google is my best friend. Google is like my other colleague, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to Google it or YouTube it. I mean, YouTube is also a friend because it will actually show you what to do. So yeah, I would agree. Just, yeah, start and start small. Like, you know, like you did. You started in a way you didn't even think you were going to end up in business.
No, I was just doing it as a pastime. And the first ones that I actually started painting were ones to put up in my daughter's bedroom. She'd have only been probably about 9 then, so she was very much into the unicorns, and she's a dancer as well, so that's why I was doing the ballerinas, the unicorn. And when I put the unicorn on, I look back at that picture now and I think, oh, that's no good, but I still get orders for it now, so it's still there in my Etsy shop. So yeah, so don't be put off and just do it.
You have to be quite brave, really, to put your stuff out there, because a lot of people do jobs where it's not like your soul's work. You know, it's, you know, I was a PA for a long time, and I can't say that I was, you know, I felt like I was bearing my soul every time I went to work. Whereas I think with art, it's so much more personal, and often there's a big story that's gone into it, or, you know, feeling, or it is a bit of you, isn't it, that's going out into the world.
Yeah, definitely. But I think for me, I know not to take things personally. It's just down to somebody's taste. I'm not gonna, if somebody doesn't like something, no, they just don't have to buy it. It's okay.
Or they might just have very bad taste. True story. They don't love those ballet shoes. I'm going to judge them. I'm joking. They might like the cow. What would be, I've asked this in my other podcasts, what would be one piece of advice to give customers, not necessarily your customers, but customers of small businesses? Because I do think it is different dealing with a small small business rather than a big corporation?
My advice, I just wish that everybody would leave a review. It just helps so much if you could leave a review, because it helps with so for example, I've got Etsy. I've got 200 and I think it was 264 sales so far, but I've only got 22 reviews. So you can imagine if I had 264 reviews.
And I've got to say that I can be guilty of sometimes not leaving a review, but with the Etsy people I've bought from, I always leave a review. Yeah, I've always, and actually most recently I bought some art and I took a photo of it, partly for my stories, and I used that photo on Etsy because I know when I've bought things, I bought some frames recently for the artwork that I keep acquiring, by the way. And I went in and wanted to see what that frame looked like and whether or not anyone had sent a review. And so actually I use the reviews to buy things. So I should be invested enough to leave a review. So that is really, really good advice. Anyone listening, you need to go and leave a review on anything you've recently bought. And if you buy it from someone who's also got an Instagram account, go and tag them in your stories as well, I think.
Yeah. I don't think you realise until you've had a small business yourself just how much those little things really do help.
Yeah. And also if they're a small account and they'll often message you back, and that you don't get that if you bought it from a big company. You wouldn't get them thanking you for sharing it on social media. So I think, there's a nice relationship you can get with the person you bought it off. And yeah, and then they and I know that they must love it when they see your artwork going on a wall. I mean, like the highest compliment, surely. So from what I understand of looking at your artwork, there's 3 sections, but I might be wrong. This is me admitting to a lot of Instagram stalking. In my mind, there's 3. There's like the dancers and the ballet shoes, which I
Mhm.
really, really love the ballet shoes. And the dancers you can personalize with a name. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you had a little girl or little boy and you wanted them to have a little artwork, you could have that. And then there's the animals, and there's quite a few different types of animals, aren't there? There's like we've got, like I said, had spiders, there's giraffe with amazing eyes. And then you've got the pet portraits. Do you do mostly dogs and cats? Have you done anything else?
No, it has just been dogs and cats, mainly dogs, a few cats. I've got asked about a hamster, but they never came through with that commission. But I thought that would have been such a cute one to do.
I'm gutted that the hamster hasn't got his own pet
Yeah.
portrait. He's only got 3 years on this planet. He needs to make the most of it. Pet portrait. A guinea pig would be good as well. Oh, a little guinea pig.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone listening, you can find, I will leave a link in description to Leana's Etsy, so you can go over there and have a little look, and also her Instagram, where you can go and see some of these portraits. I definitely think you should go and check them out if you're listening, because they are amazing. And I really feel someone who owns a guinea pig or a hamster needs to contact her and get a commission, because I need to see a pet portrait of a guinea pig or a hamster, or maybe a rabbit. I mean, I don't think you're
Yeah.
that fussy, are you? Is there
Yeah.
any pet that you wouldn't do?
I won't be keen on a spider because
But
I've painted a spider, but I didn't like doing it. I didn't like the part I didn't like was looking at the reference photo. I didn't choose to do a spider. Someone asked me. They just wanted a spider painting, but they wanted the print of it. So I've still got the original and can sell the other prints, but they wanted it for somebody. I can't remember. It was a Christmas present for someone, I think.
so if you really like spiders, you can check that out on Leana's Etsy, and you can get yourself a print of a spider. And at the moment, you're also trying a bit of abstract art, aren't you, in your art class?
Yeah, I'm giving it a go. Um, we'll see how that works out. I just want to try different styles, and I'm still trying to find my own style. So if you see some artwork, think, oh yeah, I think Leana's painted that. So I'm still not there. I don't think with. I don't know, but saying that, somebody went round to someone's house and saw my hair prints in the hallway and said, Did Leana do those? So they could tell, but that might be just through seeing it on Instagram. That's not because of the style of it.
I think you've got a style. I think. Well, comment below if you want to say whether or not Leanna's got a style, because I think you've definitely got a style, and I love it. I think it's amazing. And how do you get in? Where does all your inspiration come from? You said you use your Facebook group. Does it come from anywhere? Did it come for customer requests or anything like that?
The beginning, what I used to do was ask friends on Facebook, just on my personal page, what shall I paint next? I set myself like a Tuesday afternoon to paint. So they would come up with it just was animals. They would come up with animals. So the hair, somebody asked me to do the hairs. So yeah, most of them. I've just asked today actually in the group, what paint something this afternoon? And I've just said, what animal shall I do?
So, Leana, do you want to tell me a little bit about how working with the different mediums is and how you go about painting them? Are they on canvases? What are they on? Tell me all about it. I want to know.
Yeah, well, it depends what kind of paints I'm using. So if I'm using watercolors, for example, I'll use a paper. But there's all sorts of things you don't realize in the beginning, and then the more you go on, the more you learn. So the paper comes in different weights. So the stronger the paper, the less it warps. Because when you're painting with watercolor, the paper sort of warps. There's different techniques you can do. First, you could like pre-stretch the paper, but I've never bothered with that. Well, I've got this really high-tech system then where I iron it when I've finished.
Hold on, you iron it. So
Yeah.
so it's dry and then you
Yeah, because I finished the painting, and the paper will, even though now I use a really strong high grammage paper, just a tiny bit, it might be warped a little bit. So I get a pillowcase. I just found it on YouTube. How do I straighten my watercolor paper, flatten my watercolor paper? It was there. Everything is on YouTube.
True.
You said this earlier. So yeah, what I do is put it upside down in a pillowcase, get the iron it, and then put cooking books on top, because they're like the heavy books. I've got loads of them in my kitchen. Pile them on top and just leave it overnight.
I like it. I'm assuming this is a low heat with no steam.
Do you know? I just put the iron on.
If you're watching this and you're thinking about doing it, maybe go and find it on YouTube first.
Yeah, don't listen to don't.
We don't want anyone ruining their masterpiece.
No, yeah, just search it up in YouTube. There's loads of different ways that you can flatten it, but that's the one that works for me. Yeah, so what was you asking about the paper? So yeah, paper for watercolors. That's what I use. And what I like about the watercolor is it's unpredictable. So you put your water, you can mix lots of water into the paint and it'll just flow. And if you add another color in, like you could just drop a little bit of color in and watch how it disperses. It's really therapeutic, watercolor, I think. So I like that side to watercolor. With acrylic, I've used some different I've used canvases. I tend to use ones that I've already got. So that one, the ballet shoes, is actually painted on an old IKEA board. So it was like a poster. So I just peeled that off because it was quite shiny and it was peeling it, flaking at the edges. So it was only going to go in the bin anyway. So I peeled that off, Jezzoed it. That's like a primer before you paint. And I've gone over that. And the beauty of it is it's already got the hooks on the back to hang it up.
Perfect.
And the another one that I'm experimenting with is like a brushed stainless steel. So it's quite heavy. The acrylic Highland Cow was on steel. Oh, and the Orangutan was on steel. That was quite nice to paint. So it's really smooth.
So where do you buy that?
I got it made.
Oh.
Yeah. A company that makes kitchens made them for me.
Wow. And you do actually, from time to time, sell some of the originals, don't you?
Yeah, I'm just in the process of uploading my originals. I'm trying to be organized with my business. With on a Monday I'll do this, Tuesday this, Wednesday this, blah, blah, blah. So once a week I'm listing one original. So I'll take all the photographs and post it in my Facebook group, then I'll upload it to Etsy, you know. So at least then over time they're all going to be there, rather than feeling overwhelmed and thinking, I've got 20 originals, how can I put all these on right now? I'm just one little bit at a time. So yes, I'm doing that.
I think you're right. You can definitely, when you run your own business, be overwhelmed with everything you've got to do because there is so much. You know, every task tends to come down to one person. So yeah, I think breaking it up like that is very sensible and also awesome for your audience who can then feel like I own an original. Like how amazing is that?
It's so nice to know that people want to buy an original, have it up in the home. I love that. I want one of those world maps where you can put a little like flag of where they've gone, because I've had some go to like Canada, America. Yeah, so that would be good to keep track.
That is the next purchase for the business is a map, and then you can start putting it in and share that on. You could share that on Instagram as well, and then everyone can see your journey of where your artwork's gone and seeing it grow. And oh my goodness! And you could have different coloured pins. So for prints is one colour, and then the originals is different.
Yeah.
Originals can be gold. Although I would imagine packing them up it takes a bit more is a bit more involved than your prints, doesn't it?
Yeah, I get so worried when I'm packing an original one. I send it special delivery if it's UK. But if you don't have that abroad, you've got to go track and signed, haven't you? But at least you can keep an eye on it, because I have had a couple come back. Like, thank God they made the way back, so I could resend it again.
Oh no.
At the Highland Cow, it came back. That was in lockdown. All the way to, I think that was Canada. It was either Canada or America. And it made it all the way back. So, anyway, it made it the second time.
I mean, that's definitely something that customers need to think about is you're only in control of so much, and particularly if you're posting things, you're at the mercy of a lot of other factors.
Yeah.
Which can be really difficult. Is there anything else you'd like to cover, Leana?
When you were saying about all the different things you've got to do when you're working for yourself, and something has popped in my head about, so when I paint him, and I think, right, I want to do it as a print. So what I then do is I then scan the image, and then I have to edit the image, because when I've scanned it, because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not trained in scanning. I haven't done a course on it, so it's never quite the right color. So I use a computer program to alter the exposure and the contrast. I just play around with all these different buttons to make it look like the original, or with some of them, like with the turtle, I purposely make them brighter. I like to make the colours nice and bright. But that just, you reminded me, because I was on the phone to the company that I used to print my things, and it was the ballerinas. I was really struggling to get the background white, because if I want to write the name on to personalize it, that background needs to be perfect white. And I rang them up, and they told me what to do to alter the levels button. And I was like, whoa, why am I only just knowing this now after struggling so far? Like, it's only been 4 years, but messing around every time I scan an image in, trying to get it right. And all I had to do was this other option. I was like, wow, that was a game changer. Yeah. So there's always things you probably don't realize people have to do.
That is, yeah, that is so true. There's so many things that you don't even think about when you first start up that you end up having to do. And I changed career to do what I'm currently doing. And so everything was new. It was like every single thing was brand new. And that was quite overwhelming. But I had run a business before, so that actually that part of it wasn't super overwhelming. Putting good processes for my accountant and stuff was really easy. But the things that you don't think about, yeah, like having to do that, like sorting out the IT, like when my laptop completely filled up, like when I was doing a massive edit. Luckily, I had a hard drive I could put stuff on, but I was like, oh my God, hadn't even thought about that. So yeah, I had to get that upgraded. Luckily, my cousin was able to help me out with that, but yeah, the things that you don't think about, and then you have to think on your feet, like how I need to get this edit done. I've got to get stuff off the laptop. I can't delete it all. How am I going to do it? Luckily, as I say, I had a hard drive. So, but yeah, you have to think on your feet. And I think sometimes you think you've got to sort it out yourself, but you don't have to. You can ask for help.
Yeah. And what's really good is a lot of it you can actually do on your phone. I'm just thinking now about when I do a time lapse. So I filmed that on my phone, and then I'll put it into I'll use iMovie. Yeah, I'll get all the different bits in there, create it, and that's all on my phone. So there's so much that you can do for yourself now with the help of apps and things on your phone. I think that's a good thing.
Oh yeah, I remember being in a maths class and somebody asked, why do we have to learn all of this? And the teacher was like, because we're never going to be walking around with a calculator in our hand. And then fast forward a few years and it's like, actually, we've got the whole world in our hand right now. You know what I mean? We don't, I mean, that maybe shows my age, but well, I'm okay with that. But it's true. At one point, this wasn't even a twinkle in someone's eye, and now all the things that we could do and the capability of our phones is amazing. Yeah, and some of the editing software you can get on there is amazing as well. So I agree with you. Yeah. Thank you so much for talking with me today, Leana. I really, really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be on here. So if you are listening or watching, please go and check out the links in the description to Leana's Instagram and to her Etsy shop, and you can go and purchase your very own pair of ballet shoes or the Highland Cow. Well, you can buy whatever you like. Maybe buy the spider. Go and check the spider out, definitely. So thank you so much, Leana. It's been lovely.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on today. I'd just like to say as well, if you wanted to join my Facebook group, it's Leana Robinson Art, and you can keep updated on what it is I'm working on each week.
Brilliant. And you could potentially influence the next thing she is going to paint.
You could. I've just asked in there today, what shall I paint next?
Perfect. Get in there and influence Leana's Instagram. Thank you so much for listening or watching the Small Business Happy Dance podcast, and I will see you soon. Bye. Hello and welcome to the Small Business Happy Dance. My name is Rachel, I'm the host of the show, and today I'm interviewing Charlotte Hamilton, the founder and artist of Sugar Storm Studios, a creative studio that exists to empower the wild, the weird, and the rebels through alternative fashion, community, and tarot. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello, Rachel. Thank you for having me.
What piece of advice would you give a customer, not necessarily of your business, but maybe of a small business?
I guess my advice is to sort of consider other options. If you're in the market to buy a thing, is there other options from small businesses that you can support instead of the big corporations?